Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Sergeant's Talk TV. Hey, I'm one of your hosts, Big Mike.
And I'm the other guy that shows up when he wants to, Jason.
Hey, we both hosted one by ourselves.
We did.
Yeah.
I was trying not to have either one of us go through that issue, but life happens.
There you go. Hey, tonight we're going to talk about the DAV. That's the Disabled American Veterans Organization. We're going to tell you what they can do for our vets, where they're located, all kinds of good information and things you may not. I mean, veterans look at it. Hey, I got to go to the DAV so I can file my claim for the VA, and that's not the only thing that they do. Okay. In fact, I just got done using them to get me enrolled or on the rolls for the, what was it called? The PAC Act. And I'll tell you a story about that later. And it's not all what you think it's going to be because they've hired an outside agency to debunk any claim that comes in. And they did it at $6.2 billion contract with this medical company. So it's kind of
Wow.
my heart when I heard that part.
No.
And I heard that from somebody that works at the medical office that debunks the claims. She told me straight up. She goes, but it's a paycheck and I can't go without it. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the DAV. Before we do that, we're going to say hello to some people in here. I see T Mike D is in the house. And welcome. Let's see. Huga Homestead.
For the top this week. Yep. Let's see. Joe, fix it for you.
All right, Joe. He was in there early. Yeah. Just Kathy, not a wandering gypsy. She's in here.
Good.
I thought she went for a surgery or something.
Who did?
Was that true? Kathy, how'd that go? And there's Big Wave, Florida.
Oh, Big Wave did make it in. All right, good
Yeah.
deal. See Radio Jonesy on tours in the house.
Yeah, Debbie Drock's in here. There's Tiffany over at Canadian Family Life. She's in here.
And we got Tim and Dana Mason. And
All right.
Dana's saying Tim had a bad week since chemo, but he's listening in. So
all right. James Hall's here. There's Cuddly Texan.
Got Anna Bohr and Lumpy Burke.
All right. There is Cookie, Lila Newton. Cookie's in the house.
Always love having that. Love having some grit vittles.
Yeah, Webb's here. I welcome you guys.
Let's see. Debbie Drock. Did we say hi to Jesse and Lisa Lazy Days?
Oh, Lazy Days Ahead with Jesse and Lisa's here.
Hey, hello, everybody.
On Charles Foster, fallen Arkansas veterans. Our friend has just lost his battle with cancer. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man.
On to the Lord. Man.
Well,
everything he's done for the veterans in the state of Arkansas. And what a great guy he is. I mean, an awesome man.
Yeah, he was one of the first people that reached out to us when we started our channel.
Really?
And we've talked to him quite a bit. That's a big hit right there. Yeah.
Yeah. There's Neil S. Hey guys, just checking in. Not sure how much I can be able to watch. My emotions are still all screwed up from yesterday. Not sure why, but I was a wreck. Okay, understand. Judy Herman's in here.
Bobby at Petit Jean River Homestead.
All right. Rebecca Touched by Yarns in here. Lumpy Burke, how you doing?
There's our brother, Reverend Dream. That
Reverend
was so
Dream.
awesome being able to meet him in person.
I was in his live yesterday. He got, what was it? Quilt of Valor. He got at the Memorial Day event that he went to.
Oh, nice. I know he was talking about that, and we've been
Mama
so busy.
Carolyn.
There's a Sister Ginger, Not for Nothing Homestead.
Yeah. Oh, and I did put a thumbnail up at the top. Is it a thumbnail or a pin?
A pin.
A pin for the Payne family. Good friends of ours over here in Oklahoma. They were in the direct path of the a tornado the other day. Was that Saturday?
Saturday night.
Saturday night. They lost everything. Yeah. So I know a lot of the community, homesteading community and stuff is putting it up there. So if you feel the need to contribute, all the information's on that pen. I'm not saying you have to, but we just want to help out anybody and everybody we can. So, prayers for that family as they recover from that devastating loss they have. So, yeah. All right. So I think we said hello to just about everyone. I'm going back.
Hi to Rainy Ridge. I see they just, Eric, I think they just popped in.
Who was that?
Rainy Ridge.
Oh, Rainy Ridge. Hello.
And then just Kathy, Not a Wandering Gypsy.
Yep.
But yeah, I think I'm at the bottom now, I think. Yep.
Not for nothing. There's Ginger Snap for Not for Nothing Homestead. She made it in here. That is the beautiful wife of Joe Fix It For You. All right. So there we go. Hey, so we're going to talk about the DAV, the Disabled American Veteran. Now, my notes are over on this computer right next to me. So you'll see me going back and forth, and you'll see Jason looking up on his stacked computers he's got over there.
We can't get the studio done fast enough.
So the Disabled American Veteran program is an organization created in 1920 by World War I veterans. Okay. And it was to help their families or families through various means. It was issued by a federal charter by Congress in 1932. It currently has over 1 million members in that organization, the DAV. The Disabled American Veterans Organization provides free of charge through a nationwide network of 88 DAV National Service Office, 38 Transition Service Offices, 198 DAV Hospital Service Coordinators Offices, 52 state-level DAV departments, 249 DAV VA voluntary service representatives, and more than 1,900 local DAV chapters. That's huge.
That's spread out. I mean,
and their job is to help veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Although it says disabled American veterans, you don't have to be disabled for them to help you. Okay. They help all veterans. For example, we were talking about this before we started. There is a thing called, we were looking into this program where we wanted to donate a car, and Terry found an organization.
And I see Shiloh Acres is in here. So here you go, Shiloh.
What was it called? The one we looked at?
Vehicles for veterans.
Vehicles for veterans. And now we know that the DAV has the same program, but they've taken it a step further. And what they do is they strive to accept any vehicle, car, truck, motorcycles, RVs, boats, airplanes, heavy equipment, farm machinery, and most any other motorized vehicle in all 50 states. And what they do is they take these vehicles in. People contact them. Hey, if you know, I'm a veteran. My farm tractor has just went kaput. I can't fix it no more, and I'm looking for this. Well, their network can reach out to any one of the DAV offices that have these vehicles or machinery, and they can hook that veteran up with anything that they need. Now, if let's say you're a veteran, and because you see things on there like boats and stuff, and you run a charter service, and that's your only means of income, then you could contact them and say, hey, I'm needing another boat. You know, I ran mine in the ground, ripped the whole bottom out of it, whatever. I don't know what the case would be. Or you want to start a charter service, but you don't have the funds for it. So you can contact the DAV for one of those type of vehicles if needed. So I just learned about that. So that is a great service that they provide. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with DAV programs provided to the veterans. Okay. So you guys get a taste of what the DAV actually does for our veterans.
And so, yeah, this first program is actually one that I know about because I participated in it. It's called the Disability Transition Assistance Program. It's a service provide free assistance to service members at intake site pre-discharge claim assistance locations at military installations by disabled American veterans transition service officers with treatment records, filing initial claims for VA benefits, and confer with the U.S. Department of Defense, Department of Veteran Affairs, and Department of Labor facilitators and other participants in the transition process from military life to civilian life. So all those really, really big words is basically they take your medical record, and this is exactly what happened for me. It was actually a requirement before they would actually release me for my retirement. Is I took copies of my medical records down. They screened my entire medical record for me and said, here you go. These are the medical claims that you need to put on your VA medical claim for, even if you're not, even if it's something that doesn't fully rate like a disability rating, you want it at least covered as a medical coverage through the VA and to be service connected. And that's what they assist you with. And it worked great. I mean, it's normally one guy with several offices full of floor to ceiling papers trying to go through all your stuff. Some of the offices are larger, but the one we had was one, and it made the process of filing that initial claim to the VA so much easier. And they know, like, hey, you need so many copies of this. And, oh, this is the form that you need to submit it with. So they build you a package, and then you just have to take that over to the actual VA liaison representative there and submit it and wait.
Yeah.
That's where the wait comes in. But that was my first, I think, direct experience with the DAV, and it was through this program, and it was extremely helpful.
Yeah, I did the same thing with the DAV, and I'm going to tell you that I asked the guy, I said, what if you come up on somebody that you don't have an answer for? He goes, I've got millions of brothers and sisters I can get a hold of and get the answer. He goes, we have a chat, and we can drop that in there, and I got the answer within minutes. Okay, because a lot of these guys, that's all they do. They're fully retired, a lot of them, and that's what they do. He goes, we have coffee, and we talk about you guys, and new things that we learned and stuff like that. So we find the answers. And one of the great things about the DAV that happened to me was I didn't know about the voc rehab program, right? I ran into the guy. I got my rating, and at the time it was a 60% rating. And the guy said, "Oh man," he goes, "You're entitled to the voc rehab." I go, "The what?" He goes, "The VA guy didn't tell you about that?" I said, "No, they didn't tell me nothing." And he's the one that told me that because I'm rated at 60, that I get, the VA will pay for one college degree for me. You know what I mean? And,
Right.
oh, really? He goes, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Well, I was trying to figure out how I was going to go to college, finish out. I have a 2-year degree just in general studies. I didn't know how I was going to work this out." And he goes, "You're going to go to school at night." So for 4 years, I went to school at night, and the VA paid everything. Plus, I got a little change on the side for gas and all that other stuff for each month that I was in the program. And the only rule of it is you got to keep a B average. Well, not a B average. You can't have a class below a B. So that makes you work even harder if you're a dummy, with the book and stuff like that. So yeah, that was because I failed one class, and that was algebra. Because when I went to high school, dude, we just had to find out where you placed the decimal point graduating in 1979. Now these guys are in calculus and all kinds of. So I didn't see algebra till I went into college, and the guy was just 90 miles an hour off the. I'm just like going, what? And they had to teach you every single way of doing it. This guy. So I failed it. I actually got a D in it. So I had to pay that money back to the VA for my registration and all that stuff. And then I went back and I was registering. I had to take it. I waited and I waited and I waited. And finally, they said, "You have to take it before you start your 3rd year." And so they said, "You need to go see this guy." So I went over and I found this guy, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I got room in my class. You can sign up for it." And he taught you one way of doing it. Dude, I got a B+ in it, and I was so happy. Because the first time I took it, it was like Klingon. I didn't understand that, so that was a good thing that I had with the VA right off the get-go. So the next one is assistance completion and mailing of the United States Department of Veterans Affairs VA forms on behalf of the veteran service member or survivor. Okay, that means your spouse, your children, and stuff like that. Response guidance for research and questions to veterans involved in any type of disability compensation, medical services for the Veterans Health Administration for service-connected disability claims. Now, I will tell you, you have to look at, if you're a veteran, there are certain things that are not service-connected disabilities, okay? But it's like when I went through and I did my medical thing, after I was all done, they said, "You have like 123 points." I said, "Oh, really?" He goes, "But that equates out to 60 because everything that you listed that we approved is service connected." Okay. That means they got to take care of you. But if the service connection is, let's say like you have hypertension, but you're taking medication that is totally controlling it, okay, you don't get a disability for it. Okay. It's kind of like the sleep apnea is the largest percentage of any VA claim. It's 50% right off the get-go.
And I have heard that they started to change that a little bit more.
They did change it
based on the severity.
If you have a machine and it is controlling it, they will reduce your percentage on because the CPAP's actually working. And they're
Mhm.
also looking at a device. I know I've seen it on TV where they put this implant in your chest and you take your phone and you can tell that you're getting ready to go to sleep and everything like that. And it puts you out. First, I don't know how it works. And but I have like severe sleep apnea. And
So do I.
I can't even stay asleep when I'm using a CPAP. So it's uncontrollable for me. So, and then if you can be grandfathered into it if you had severe sleep apnea before they made this ruling. So those people.
That's where I'm at right now is I'm
Yeah.
grandfathered in because I was actually one of the last batch right before they made the ruling that they were going to start basing it off the severity of your apnea. So when I went to the DAV guy, they told me right away, he said, well, you're already starting at 50% just because you have a machine. And they were just changing it not too long after I was retiring to do more of a prorated side. But and even though it's controlled with the CPAP machine, but I have to have that machine. So I still have a 50% rating.
Yeah. So Anna Bohr said type 1 diabetes, adults onset after military, not controlled. Okay. In order to become, a lot of people, like I'm type 2 diabetic, and type 1 people means your pancreas is not working at all. Okay. And you can be a type 2 diabetic and you can get to the stage where you become a type 1 diabetic. That means a total shutdown of your pancreas. Okay. So type 2, you have type 2 diabetes and stuff like that when your pancreas can't keep up with you. And so that's why they tell you when you're type 2 to lose weight, because of the fat in your body and stuff like that. And then, of course, you're on metformin and whatever else they want to put you on. And like the VA, they'll give you things like Victoza and stuff like that works with, because you could have hypertension and you just can't go out and take like one of these newfangled weight loss injectors and stuff like that and things like that, because you could actually hurt yourself. So they'll do some, they don't use all of those things to get your weight down and stuff like that. But yeah, you can get a disability if it's not controlled, if you become a type 1 or even a type 2, because they take care of all my medication for being a type 2 diabetic.
Well, one of my Marine buddies that lives in Southern Arkansas, actually, he fought to get his retirement because while he was still active duty and he was within a year or two of being able to retire, he got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and full insulin pump, everything. Like, it was pretty insane. And he actually had to fight to get his retirement because they wanted to medically separate him. And he's like, I don't want a med sep. Like, I want, and so he got approval, took a lot of Congress people involved and whatnot. He got it. And then it was still, he gets all of his meds from the VA for all of his medical stuff for that type 1 diabetes and his pump and all the stuff that goes with it. But his initial disability rating, even though they were willing to medically separate him, I think he was only at 30 or 40%.
Yeah.
When he initially retired.
Right.
He's since been able to go through programs and get, he's at 100% now.
Oh, wow.
But the initial part, or his initial retirement time, but yeah, they pay for all that.
I went from 60 to 70 because I had to have both of my shoulders worked on, and they gave me another 10% because of all that. Because they didn't just fix my torn rotator cuffs and stuff like that, they actually had to remove the tendons that's connected down here to your elbow into your shoulder and stuff. That's why I can't even pull back a bow, and I had to sell my hunting bow. So, yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. So on part of these programs, response guidance to veterans, their families, and survivors about the Veterans Benefit Administration, disability compensation, VA pension programs, veterans group life insurance, burial and internment allowances, education programs such as the Montgomery GI Bill and the post-Vietnam era Veterans Educational Assistance Program, VA home loans, the vocational rehab and employment program, or other miscellaneous benefits at the VA.
Yeah.
So kind of like we had said, they're there to be your one-stop shop of questions of, does the VA provide this?
Yeah.
Or how do I go about getting this service? Or what do I do for my service member? They got sick or maybe they passed away. What's the first step to do? And that one-stop shop, I think, is the best way to call it.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something. If you guys, anybody out there is a veteran and you have a disability, you need to go see the DAV if you want to go back to college and stuff like that, and make sure you qualify for one of these programs here. Like, I didn't know about the voc rehab, employment rehab, to get a college degree. And I was so thankful for that. Okay. They say you're going to earn 30% more in your life. And this is what they told me, if you have a college degree. Okay. So, those are awesome programs, and every veteran needs to stop by the DAV and talk to them about that. So, I mean, because I knew a guy that he finished one class before he got out of the service, and he got his master's degree because he already had a bachelor's degree. And you qualify for it because of the disability. So please go check on all that stuff, because that's some great stuff, especially the burial assistance, the allowance. I think it's only like $750. Trust me, we buried our son, and $750 doesn't cover the ambulance drive. Trust me. Okay, in some places. The next thing is assistance to veterans in reopening and filing completed claims for service-connected or non-service connected disabilities, assistance for completion of the VA forms for veterans that are eligible individuals for unemployability benefits. Okay. So there are benefits if you have like 100% and you are not able to go to work, because there's two things. There's unemployable 100%, or you can be 100% and you can still work. Okay. So you got to know the difference between the two. So if you're unemployable, okay, for example, you're unemployable because you lost both legs and both hands in a roadside bomb and in a conflict or whatever. Okay. Yeah. Right there, they'll give you, classify you, and you get an extra benefits because you cannot be employed, period. So if you're in that situation, the VA, DAV is there for you. And if you want to reopen up your claim to get a higher claim. Now, don't get me wrong. I was watching on another VA channel, and there's hundreds of them. There are hundreds of channels out there. That's all they talk about is the VA updates, all kinds of stuff. And the one guy says, but you do take a risk of possibly getting your VA percentage lowered because they will dig right back through everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, well, wait a minute. You're getting 10% for hypertension, but your hypertension is perfectly under control. Boom, they'll rip that right out as fast as they gave it to you. So just remember that when you're doing things like that. Our VA medical hospital has a DAV at the facility. They pick up veterans. Yes, we're going to get to that and take them to their VA appointments. If you can't drive yourself, see if there is a DAV at the hospital. I know my little satellite clinic here, the DAV is there every Tuesday. They have a representative there every Tuesday, and you can talk to them and set up appointments and stuff like that with the DAV. But yeah, we're going to get through the whole transportation thing. It's coming. All right, you're up next.
Yeah, so I think we covered some of this already, but assistance of veterans and survivors who are filing any type of claim, original or otherwise, for benefits, compensation, and or pension with the VA.
Yep.
So I think the big one there is it's not, we talk about it, hey, as in the veteran, like you're doing it yourself. But if you guys remember back a couple episodes ago where we talked about like the caregiver stuff, or spouses, you can also be part of these programs.
Yeah, that is true. Filing a notice of disagreement forms with the VA regional office for veterans. Yeah, if you get a rating, you have every right in the world to put in a disagreement of their findings. Okay. Because when you get your typed out letters or packet for everything, they will tell you this is what was claimed and this is the reason we're not giving it to you. So then you go to your doctor. Okay, I don't go to the VA when I have an issue with that. I use my TRICARE insurance. That's my military retirement insurance. And I go to a private doctor. And I said this to him. I said, do you understand? What does this mean? And he's going, wait a minute. No, that's not right. Okay. Then he tested me, ran tests on me, and this is what he came up with. And then I took that to the DAV, and then we submitted that, and they turned around, we got caught, or whatever they want to say. And then they gave me the disability for it. Okay. And so, I mean, I'm telling you guys, you gotta check everything.
Yeah.
Okay? Just because they say so. I mean, because I'm going to tell you how ignorant people can be. You go to a doctor, and because they're doctors, right? And they said, oh, all right, get undressed and set up on the table. Oh, okay. So you take all your clothes off and you're sitting on the table, right? And everybody does this. Well, I was at the hospital one time, and the doctor at the Army hospital told my first wife, hey, okay, get undressed and sit up on the table. And I'm going, whoa, what? I said, she dislocated her elbow. Why she has to get undressed because she dislocated her elbow? He goes, I must have been looking at something different on this. And I'm like going, I went to the hospital administrator. I said, hey, this is what happened. And the lady in there says, oh, this is like the third complaint on this guy. Guys, I'm telling you, do not take their word as gospel. Okay?
No.
Don't take it for gospel. Get a second opinion before you go back and fight with the VA. But go to the DAV. If you can get the DAV on your side, they're going to fight to the death for you. Trust me. So just remember that. Okay. This is also goes was being denied for the caregiver program. DAV has a VSO to help you with your appeal. Use them. That's right, Grace. Grace. Glenda. That's right. She's absolutely right.
So yeah, they also assistance of veterans assistance to veterans and or surviving spouses to prepare and file appeals for claim denial with the VA regional office and the United States Courts of Appeals for Veterans Claims Board in Washington, D.C. And I know it's not 100%, but the guy that I went through also helped my buddy down in down south, that when we got our increase on our initial ratings, we had went through and they initially denied him an increase, even though he had probably added 8 or 9 more symptoms that weren't on his initial claim.
Right.
And he's like, okay, so how does that, all of these things, how do they not add up? And one of them was a very significant addition that should have bumped him enough to get him that full 100%. And so the program that that we both ended up using went through, they filed an appeal. And that guy said, even if you're doing it by yourself, if you don't like that answer, most of the time, can't always guarantee it because it is the VA, just filing the appeal, because then it goes back through like human review and that kind of stuff, it'll end up increasing just by filing the appeal.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, when I tried to do my increase on my own, I never filed any of those appeals because I didn't know anything about them. But now, like looking back, I probably could have got my increase a long time ago.
Yeah.
If I would have just actually filed an appeal.
Yeah. So yeah.
So definitely use those options and don't be afraid of it. I mean, it's going to take some time, but you can go to the DAV. They're going to help you fill out the forms and have the right terminology and stuff to be able to get it out there.
Yeah. Okay, so the DAV will assist in follow-up on statuses of claims filed by the veteran with the VA regional office. They will also do free reviews of VA denials of the claim and file an appropriate response. That's the appeal, okay, that you file for them. So I'm telling you guys, why more people do not use them, because you can use them for free before you go out and hire you a lawyer or whoever to fight that. And that's what really gets me, that it takes, when you know you're in the right and you deserve that, and it takes you hiring a lawyer to fight a battle on something that you've earned, that is your right. And sometimes it absolutely saddens me that people have to go to that. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's a guy up in OKC that's all he does, his law office, and the VA hates seeing him coming because he's ruthless with them.
Well, and the company, like I went through a company, it was actually another Marine buddy of mine that he works for them. And that's what he does now, is he gets their company, gets veterans either their initial rating if they already don't have one, or the biggest part is if you get a low rating at first and you're like, well, I should have a bigger, and they have their own group of doctors and everything, but it's a paid service because they are a business.
Yeah.
But they have their own set of doctors that they send to, and then they fill all the forms out for you, and they've got lawyers on retainers that if it gets to the point where you do an appeal, and I think you have 2, I think you could appeal a decision 2, maybe 3 times, something like that, right? You can submit multiple appeals on one, and then if that doesn't go through, then that's where they have to pull the lawyer in to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it did hurt a little bit because, like I said, you had to pay for it. And it's like, But I had tried. This was a case where I went through the DAVs, the one that did my initial claim, and I came out pretty well with that. And then even when I went back, they still couldn't find anything to totally justify. And I said, okay, I understand that. So, but I knew this buddy of mine, and his company goes through. I'm hoping I need to actually call him. I'm hoping that we can get him to come up and really say what his company does.
Yeah.
But it's something though that, as the preface of it, it is a paid service. So, but you get your money back, not from them, but because of all the back pay when you get an increase.
Yeah. See, I probably need to talk to them because they're
everybody that I personally know that is called and dealt with him, every single one of them will come out 100% in the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Big Mike needs to talk to your friend.
I will get you his information. But I need to get with him to try to get him to come up and talk about it, on our platform, see if he's willing to do that. I'm sure he will, just because, like I said, it is a business, but he does it because he's a Marine.
Right.
And it's for all branches, it's not a Marine specific company.
Right.
So they also offer a transportation free. We always like that price. Free of charge for veterans provided by the DAV Transportation Network to ensure that wounded or ill veterans attend their medical appointments at Veterans Administration medical facilities. The DAV Transportation Network is administered by DAV Hospital Service Coordinators.
Yeah.
So we had kind of talked about that already. But it's free. Yeah.
Another thing is Big Mike needs to start taking more advantage of this because he doesn't do it. Is if you go to the VA, and it doesn't matter how far or how short of a drive it is, when you go up to the window and they tell you, and they have to tell you, are you filing a transportation, a mileage claim? Fill it out. It only takes a few seconds to fill one out. Register online so you can actually do it online while you're sitting in the waiting room. You get their app and you just go like this. I found out now that there's an app for it. There's an app for everything.
Right.
And you can put your claim in on your phone, and then they send you a check to your banking account. Wherever they send your VA check, that's where they send the check for your mileage. I mean, I'm just one of those guys. You know what? I'm okay. I drove all the way up to Muskogee. It's an hour-and-a-half drive each way. And I said, no, that's fine. And I sat down, and this old man, he goes, what's wrong with you? He goes, do you have a brain injury? I said, what are you talking about? He goes, you live in McAllister, don't you? He goes, I've seen you. I said, yeah. He goes, that's $93. Why are you throwing $93 away? I said, well, I didn't know how much it was,
Yeah.
And it's the 67 cents on each mile that you drive. That's the federal rate if you drive yourself and stuff like that. Like if you go TDY or whatever, and they allow you to take your vehicle with you, then you get, 67 cents per mile. That's the standard on the Joint Travel Regulation guidelines.
And I use it when I go to, if I have to go to Little Rock, because that's a 3.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
But typically to go to my clinic in town, but same thing, Tara's on me all the time too. Why aren't you filing that? And I'm like,
yeah.
Because
you have to wait in the waiting room anyway.
Yeah, and when they initially started that, or at least when I initially started using it, they actually went through, you filled out a questionnaire as part of your checking out from that appointment.
Yeah.
And it was already submitted. Well, now, because of trying to be faster, getting more people seen, they're like, hey, do it yourself, which probably makes sense. But some of us are slightly lazy and don't want to go through the 17 questions it takes to fill it out. And it's only a 20-25 minute drive to go from here to town.
Right.
And so I don't typically do it for those ones, but if it's something for longer than that, you can. And if you're part of the community care program, so if they can't get you into the VA hospital or clinic and you're utilizing community care, because it's still paid by the VA or TRICARE, like, or as long as it's done by the VA, not TRICARE,
Right.
you can still get that same mileage.
Yes, you sure can. Hey, a free copy of your official bi-monthly publication of the DAV magazine that you will get. Will you stop moving that woman? It's going up and down. What's she doing? Assistance during major disasters, i.e. tornadoes, floods, etc. So if you're a veteran, you get assistance with all that too. So if you live in Oklahoma and you're a veteran, you need to look into that program, because if you live here long enough, the likelihood of you being involved in a natural disaster of some sort, if you live down in Florida, if you live on the coast somewhere, a hurricane, you need to check in. Hey, what is that all about? And let the DAV tell you what you're entitled to if something like a hurricane, like a tornado is in your area. Okay. So now we're going to get into some specialty areas and things that the VA does for you as being part of the VA system.
Yes, and this first one is a mobile service office. And I'm seeing that, like, Shiloh Acres just commented that they seen a vehicle pass wrapped that read Lapeer County Veterans Association. So that's what this DAV's mobile service office program is designed to bring assistance for disabled veterans and their families living in geographic rural areas on veterans benefits, filing claims, and services closer to home by eliminating long trips for veterans to the national service offices. The DAV specially equipped mobile service offices on wheels, visits communities according to the MSO location schedule.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are in an area that doesn't, or like you don't have they have a mobile office on wheels. I don't know if it's a bus. I imagine each.
Well, you can get their schedule. Okay, if you live out there, like we live 25 miles, a little over 25 miles to the clinic here, and an hour and a half to almost 2 hours to Muskogee. So if you live, let's say you live down in Sulphur, which is another hour drive south of me or more, you can call the DAV and say, hey, can I get a listing of your mobile servicing office? I live down here in Sulphur. And they can tell you the closest that they come to your area, or maybe they're going to say, okay, let me get you on the schedule and get you come down there to see you. Because, having that service, especially if you're an older veteran that can't drive anymore, it's invaluable to you to get those services, and along with the transportation part too, to go to your VA appointments and stuff like that. So, yeah. Veterans information seminars. Is there two parts to that?
I don't know. You get mad when they scroll.
I'm not getting. There it is, right there. Veterans information seminars. This outreach program is to educate veterans, their families, and their survivors who are unaware of veteran government benefits and program counseling, claim filing, assistance by a DAV national service officer at the community throughout the country. Veterans information seminars are free of charge to all veterans and do not have to be a member of the DAV. to attend the Veterans Information Seminars. DAV Veterans Information Seminars are held at local DAV chapters and community centers. So what that is they have a laundry list of programs or seminars, if you will, that cover certain subjects. And you can get with the DAV, get a list of the seminars and where they're located at. And it could be, refiling a claim, going through arbitration on your claims after you've done an appeal for it and stuff like that. So you can get a hold of your DAV, get a list. Hey, they'll email it to you, or they'll say, hey, go to this website right here. There is a list of all the seminars that's going to be happening in the Oklahoma area or the Arkansas area and where they're going to be held at. So that's a very good thing to educate yourself on the operations and the ins and outs of the VA through the DAV.
All right, then this next one, the Disabled American Veterans Homeless Veterans Initiative, is supported by the DAV's Charitable Service Trust and the Columbia Trust. This initiative promotes the development of supportive housing and necessary services to assist homeless veterans become productive, self-sufficient members of society. The DAV works with federal, state, county, and city governments to develop programs to assist homeless veterans. It also coordinates with the VA to get health care, substance abuse treatment, mental health services to put homeless veterans in transition to productive members of their community.
Yeah. So I know that when we lived in Colorado Springs, there is a huge homeless veteran population. And I worked with the DAV, the VA, and because I belong to Combat Vets Motorcycle Association. And they have a thing at the Civic Center there every year where a homeless vet can come in and, number one, get a haircut. Number two, see a lawyer if they've got criminal charges against them and stuff like that. These are pro bono lawyers and stuff like that. Medical help. If they, let's say they're a veteran and they never signed up for, a VA, anything, they're just homeless. And I've talked to a lot of them, and there's a lot of them that take advantage of the programs to get off the streets. But then again, there are a lot of veterans that I've talked to that would rather live on the streets, away from everybody, and not be dependent on a job or anything like that, because that's what they want. A couple of things that they don't do. They don't give out sleeping bags. They don't give out tents. They will give you a brand new pair of shoes. They will give you a coat because, and the other part of it is, this is Colorado Springs. It's cold in the wintertime. Okay. And I can understand if you're homeless, I would take a warmer climate. But a lot of these guys say that they have family in that area. And there are big encampments in Colorado Springs with homeless people, period. And the veteran community is huge there, because we do one at the Civic Center for these people, these veterans. And there would be 600 to 1,000 veterans coming through that front door. That is a lot of veterans that are homeless. So yeah, that homeless assistance right there is something, but you got to want it.
And I think that's the biggest key to this whole thing is all of these programs are available, and we talk about it week to week of a benefit and things that are available to veterans, programs that they can be part of. But if they don't want it, none of this stuff works for, they've got to be able to want to do that.
Exactly.
we've actually have a veterans. It's a privately funded veterans assistance center. They actually have a full-on homeless shelter there for veterans that they can go, because there's like, I think in our town there's like 3 different little communities of homeless, tent camping, and they created this veteran service center to kind of rehab them for things like we were just talking about.
Right.
And they hardly get anybody want to come in. Like, they know that a lot of the homeless are veterans,
Right.
but they don't want to come in, because part of this program is to do that, is to rehab them, to get them back into being a productive member of society.
Sure.
Not just, living on the street and panhandling. And so part of it is they'll get them in, they'll get them cleaned up. They have a room for them. They have full kitchen. They have somebody on staff 24/7 that will, help them with whatever they can, cook for them, clean, get them stuff. And then once they get them a job, then they have to kind of pay a percentage or whatever of rent back. And he says the minute they start explaining that part to any of them, they're out. They're like, no, they just want. And so,
Right.
And that's the hard part, is we hate to see so many homeless veterans, but if they don't want help, we can't help them.
Yeah. You can't force them behind a 12-foot fence,
Right. I mean, it's just, and it's sad, because that they served, so you knew that, all right, they had some commitment, and maybe they just came up on a bad time, and maybe that one little thing, and it doesn't make you want to do it any less,
Yeah.
Like, if you see them, I'm going to try to help you, but it's that whole, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, so this last one is the DAV disaster relief grants. The DAV disaster relief grants may be issued for the purpose of providing food, clothing, and temporary shelter, or to obtain relief from injuries, illness, or personal loss resulting from a natural or national disaster that aren't covered by insurance and other disaster relief agencies like FEMA and stuff like that. Since the DAV disaster relief grants program inception, since its inception in 1968, 8.7 million has been reimbursed to veterans that suffer from loss during natural disasters. The applicant must be the victim of a natural disaster. The applicant must be a service-connected disabled veteran or spouse thereof in the same household. So if you have a spouse but you're not living together, she's in Alabama and you're in Florida, it don't count. The applicant's claimed loss must not be covered by insurance, like your homeowner's insurance and stuff like that. The applicant's claimed loss must not be covered by other emergency relief agencies like FEMA and stuff like that. So
just, it's keeping them from double dipping.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull this question up.
Well, I mean, when you look at it, it started in 1968 and they've only given out 8.7. That means very little has really been given out. If you look at all the disasters or natural disasters that's happened since 68. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're covering some really limited things for that, but at least it's there. So, and you were saying?
For sure. Well, I seen this comment from Judy Herman. What about a veteran that needs housing but doesn't know what they want due to mental issues? and that's a very tough one, because a lot of homeless veterans have mental issues. That's why they're homeless. They can't get along with others. There's always something there is a mental instability,
Sure.
whether it's a drug induced or not. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge that, is put out to everybody. Is if they have the having mental health issues, we're not doctors. We don't, but if you know that person, then that's where you need to try to talk to them to get them in. And then maybe at the clinic, they can get that service, the mental health service, and then they can start looking at the other stuff.
Yeah.
But you got to find whatever that first initial step to get them there is. And
Now, I remember when I was a kid, everybody in the Phoenix Valley knew where the crazy house on Van Buren Street was. Okay. And it ain't there no more. Okay. And a lot of places, they've gotten rid of them because courts have found that people not in their, they have total control over their faculty, still have rights. Okay. And it's getting worse and worse because some people, I'm sorry, and this is just me speaking, need help. Okay. Whether they like it or not. Number one, for their own safety, for the safety of people that they're around. I mean, I don't know how many times in Colorado Springs there was a stabbing underneath the 25 bridge, and that's where the homeless encampment is. Okay, because somebody encroached on their little camping space and they took them out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. When they do they even do that anymore? Court ordered. I mean, I know if you commit a crime and they say, "Hey, you were insane when you did it. You're going to this place." But the things I've seen is they said, "Oh, that person's healed." Really? And you let them back out. So I'm not an expert on that, but it just seems that if you're that mentally unstable, is that the right word? Unstable, that a court has to sentence you to there. And I understand that doctors, they look on the, the recovery side and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, I've just seen too many people do too many bad things to other people and claim insanity, do a little bit of time in a treatment facility, and they're right back out. For veterans, I get it. PTSD is a serious, serious thing. But again, in those encampment areas with veterans and stuff like that, it is a very dangerous place to live. Okay. It truly is. It's a dangerous
and I think there's a lot of them, and I'm not a big pharmaceutical fan at all.
No.
But there are pharmaceuticals or some sort of a medicine, right? Whether we can do a homemade tincture, or something that can help that person a little bit, even if it may not get rid of the problem, right? It might not, you can't correct the condition, but can you slow it down? Can you moderate it? And when you're getting kind of like you're talking about in these encampments, there's so many of them there, and they're unmedicated because they're homeless, they don't have income, they don't have and so when they're in a facility, and this is where I've kind of seen it go through, is when they're in a facility and they're regimented, somebody is there making sure they're taking their medicines at the exact time that they need to take it every single day, plus they're having food so that and they're in a warm, dry shelter place that they do great. And they're like, okay, well, now you've graduated out of this facility, time to go to your your own place, and they might go get an apartment for 6 months, but then they stop taking their meds. Something comes up, something sets them up, they don't take the meds, or they quit going to their job, and then they're right back at square one. And
so if you're on your meds on a constant regiment every single day when you're in a facility and stuff like that, and all of a sudden you go out there and you're saying all the right things to get out of that place, and then you get off of it. Is the mental illness quadrupled? Is it when you go right back to it? Because I know for, let's say, for people taking medication for hypertension, once you're on it, you can't get off of it. There is nothing out there that's going to get you off of the hypertension medicine. And that's what a doctor told me. He goes, I just want you to know, the VA guy said, he goes, we're putting you on this medication, but you're going to take it for the rest of your life. Because my hypertension that I don't get a VA rating for, apparently on there says they put something on there about hereditary, because in my medical file, I had mentioned that my mom had hypertension, and I know my grandmother died from hypertension. So I didn't get credit for it, but they pay for my medication for it. Mm-hmm. And I just go, well, you know what? I took it because I was tired of feeling my heartbeat in my eyeballs. You know what I mean? I was tired of it. My eyes were always bloodshot red, and it was very much out of control. And I was in the military. Okay. And so I started taking it and stuff like that. So it probably has saved my life. So, you know, and that's part of the whole thing with the veterans, you know, and like Jason and I had talked, all we want to do is give, hopefully spark something in every veteran's mind on each one of our shows to make you stop and think, or to say, did I think about that when I did my claim? Maybe I should go and see the DAV and just talk it over. It's free. Just talk it over and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking right here. And you bring all your stuff with you and you sit down and you brainstorm this with them. And, you know, there's probably a lot of people that should be getting treated for PTSD that aren't. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I think every one of us has PTSD of some sort. Something's happened in your life, a traffic accident, you fell off a ladder, you know, now you're afraid of heights or whatever, or now you hire a guy to clean out your gutters on your house because you're tired of falling and stuff like that. It could be anything. It could be, you know, PTSD by, you know, with rape victims, with whatever. Everybody has some sort of PTSD. It is just the severity of it, okay, that needs to be truly seriously treated. So that's what we want to bring to everybody that come into the lives here. I did post a Memorial Day video. If you guys would take the time and go and watch that, it is our first video that we've put up. And I just felt like Memorial Day was an appropriate time to put up our first video. And it's just my thoughts on what Memorial Day is to me and patriotism in the United States. Where has it gone? And stuff like that. So please give it a look-see, and please leave comments. We enjoy doing this show. We were joking at the beginning. I said, well, Jason's not up here yet. I said, Terry goes, well, maybe you're on your own. You guys are trading off. But yeah, hey guys, I'm so happy that we did this. I'm so happy that we can bring you the information that we do. If you have any ideas, please leave it in the comments. Just drop it on down in there. Hey, I'd like to know more about whatever that has something to do with my service member or you as a veteran and stuff like that. We'll be more than happy to. And we are looking. I got contacted by somebody that says, hey, I've got a friend that would love to come on your guys' show. He's a veteran. He's a former Navy SEAL. and certain special things has happened to him in his life that he's willing to share and stuff like that. So I gotta do some talking with him. Hopefully we can get him on a live. He's familiar with YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So I think that would be a great segment that we could do on that, interviewing veterans. Just drop an idea down there if you want us to look into something. So anything from you, brother?
I just do want to mention again, Dawn from Hat Creek came in and she was just seeing. So a reminder that yes, Charles, Arkansas fallen veteran, is no longer with us. So thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers out for his family, guys. He's been battling some pretty nasty cancer. So
yes.
And
it was great to spend a little bit of time with him at the 10 Killer meetup. So
yeah, it was. And I felt bad because Tara and he wanted to get a picture with us. And we did a big group photo with him at the end, but we didn't get a chance to do the individual. But we've talked with him quite a bit over our time coming into YouTube. Because like I said earlier, he was one of the first people that reached out. As soon as we said something about me being a veteran, he was like, poof, sent the email, launched, and talked to him quite a bit. So the other thing with everything that Mike had said about why we're doing this channel is, guys, and I've seen the comments in here, bring more veterans, bring caregivers in here, bring veteran families in here. We want to hear those stories, but we also know that every single day we talk to somebody and they're like, ooh, I didn't know that. Ooh, I didn't know that.
yeah,
There's things that Mike and I have talked about on here, and we learned because we were talking about it on here.
yeah,
and we only ever get to know about these programs when we hear it from somewhere. And there are a lot of veteran channels out there that have information, and it's really hard to follow all of them. But you know, maybe we present it in a little gooder way or something.
yeah. Follow us, not them.
Yeah. So, we give it to you crayon style, guys.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, and just love and appreciate every one of you for coming out and supporting Mike and I, and with this information. And yeah, give us ideas.
Maybe an episode on advice when getting shipped out of the United States. Yeah, because her relatives are getting ready to. Her daughter and her spouse are getting shipped to Germany. Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, actually, so some of that changed, but yes.
Yeah.
The daughter-in-law is still going, but their daughter is staying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's a shorter tour, number one, if you go
right.
Says Glenda said, my son was a guardian for the honor flights. It is a incredible program. Yes. The flight honor flights, it's happened a lot. It's been around for a long time. And I remember I was on a detail when I was in it was 90. I want to say it was like 98. We went down to France, and the flights came in, and we did the escort because we did color guard in Normandy on Memorial Day before, and then we got down there to welcome the World War II vets that flew in from the United States and took them around the cemeteries and stuff like that, take them back down on the beach and stuff like that. The one I remember, there was a few guys that said, no, we're fine up here. We don't need to go back. We don't need to go down there on that beach. We've been there. I got a little vial of sand from there. So yeah, those are absolutely, it is a great program for our veterans. So yeah. Hey guys, thanks for coming in. Sorry we went over a little bit on our time, but hey, we never promised you a time anyway. So guys, We love you. God bless you. And guys, we'll see you on the next video or the next
See you
slide.
guys.
Yeah. All right, brother.
Yeah, I think.
Oh,
I don't
that's
know.
right. I got to hit the thing. I'm getting ready to talk to you like we do every time. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
It's my PTSD kicking in.
Right.